Hello, everyone. It's your girl Celeste. Welcome to another video. I'm also known as Celestial Goddess. Today, I'm going to be talking about why it's good not to stuff your emotions. I feel like a lot of people stuff their emotions down because it may seem easier, but in the long run, it actually hurts you more than helps you. So, I'm going to be discussing the different reasons why it's important to try to release your emotions in a healthy way. And I've had trouble with this too, especially in the past, and I'm still learning how to do this. So let's get into it. If you're new here, I talk about all things mental health, spirituality, law of attraction, things like that. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and let's get into it. So, why it's important not to stuff your emotions down and why it's important to feel your emotions. I feel like talking about emotions is something that's kind of not everyone talks about because you have to be strong and things like that, especially with men. But I think it's super important to feel your emotions. And when you feel an emotion means it's a signal. It's a signal that you were either hurt or you're angry, something like there's usually something deeper, right? So if you feel an emotion of sadness, that could be that you're either grieving or someone hurt you or something like that, right? And when you stuff those emotions down, what it does is it builds internal pressure. So when you stuff it down, you don't get rid of your emotions, you just store them. And over time, that emotional buildup can turn into anxiety, irritability, or even outbursts when the pressure becomes too much to contain. So some people stuff it down to the point where it builds and builds and builds, and then they have a huge blowout. And then they apologize and they're like, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I just like felt this way for so long. But then they never like felt that emotion or said anything. And so that builds that internal pressure that ultimately is going to manifest in a different way. Some people use unhealthy coping skills like drinking to cope with their emotions. And I'm, that was literally how I used to cope when I was younger. Like, not even just when I was younger, like even last year, like that's how I used to cope. And what this does is it suppresses your emotions and you feel okay in the moment, but then when you are sober, you feel all the emotions again. So it's putting a band aid over the issue and it's not actually helping your emotions at all. So another reason why it's not good to suppress your emotions is it disconnects you from yourself. So ignoring your emotions can make it hard to understand your needs, your boundaries, and your desires. So this also goes with like stuffing and down. When you have that blow up, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, this has been bothering me for so long. When you stuff your emotions down, you're ignoring your needs, you're ignoring your boundaries, you're ignoring things that bother you, and which means you're ignoring yourself. And when you ignore yourself, that internally breaks you. Like it breaks you down. So it's like a vicious cycle of just like a vicious cycle of ignoring who you are in your truth. So that's another reason why it's not good to suppress your emotions. Another reason, it leads to emotional exhaustion. So are you tired from work or are you tired from like, whatever it is, or are you just emotionally exhausted? I never realized how much emotional exhaustion could take on your life and literally numb you until I got out of my last job. I have been I had been working in crisis mental health for 2 years, and that's why I got sober because I was like, okay, like there's something like I just need to change something because I'm still depressed. I'm still like, I need to just change something. So I got sober and I was still in my job and I wasn't drinking and I was still so exhausted. Like on my days off, all I wanted to do was sleep. Like I just felt like everything was too much. And I thought, okay, like I'm not drinking alcohol anymore. And I thought alcohol was the issue. I realized that I was emotionally exhausted. My job was draining me. It's hard to listen to all the people like people's problems like day in and day out, and not even just therapy like going in a clinic. No, I was listening to I was seeing people who were probably having the worst day of their lives every single day. That is going to take a toll on you eventually. And I was emotionally exhausted. And maybe if it had just been a normal year, it would have been fine. But I had gone through 4 deaths this past year. So, on top of all the grieving that I was doing, I was listening to everyone's problems and what they were going through. And I was holding that with me. I was not able to properly feel my emotions and also be able to work through other people's emotions. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved what I did and I really found reward in it. And that's why I stayed in it for so long because I loved helping people, especially when I had been there once where I felt like there was no hope. But it was to a point where I knew that this was draining me too much and I had to let that job go. Okay, so another reason that your emotions is not good to suppress your emotions is when you suppress your emotions, it can harm relationships. So if you're in a relationship, you suppress your emotions, then communication suffers, and the people around you don't know what's really going on or how best to treat you or how best to navigate how you are, situation, whatever it is. So it's really important to feel those emotions, set those boundaries, have that communication with people because then it will ultimately help you and help the people around you to understand what's going on. Number 5, I'm doing this in order. I haven't been saying the numbers, but I'll be writing them on text. So number 5, it can manifest physically. So I am a huge believer in this, and that's why I truly believe that mind, body, spirit, it all is connected. So I have known people that got stomach cancer, and I honestly feel like they held on grudges for years and they never talked about their emotions. I and the stomach is the sacral chakra, so like I truly believe that like doing those things, suppressing your emotions, it can literally lead to sickness. And people say it all the time, like your mind is so powerful. I say it all the time. Your mind is so powerful. You can make yourself sick and you can heal yourself. So if you are suppressing those emotions down, it will manifest physically. That's why even when like people say you're stressed out, your immune system goes down when you're stressed out. So that means that your body literally can't defend itself anymore because you are in hyper vigilance or hyper stress or whatever it is. So it's super important to not suppress those emotions because you can make yourself sick. Number 6, it blocks healing and growth. So I feel like this is self explanatory, but when you suppress your emotions, you're not able to heal and you're not able to grow. So you kind of delay that process of like going through those feelings, those emotions, that grief, that loss, whatever it is that you're going through in your life. Number 7, it limits joy and fulfillment. So I feel like when you suppress your emotions, I feel like you're not able to experience joy and fulfillment as much as you would if you would let those emotions go. I feel like people who suppress emotions for a really long time are bitter, or hold on to things, may hold on to something that was like years ago, but they're holding on to it because they haven't expressed it, they haven't felt it, they haven't set that boundary or expressed that need. So they're not going to go and enjoy that time with that family member because they've suppressed that emotion. And maybe it could have been a great time if they would have felt it and they would have talked to that person or whatever it is. So I do feel like it limits joy and fulfillment. And that was the last reason. But ultimately, what I also and I always say this on my channel is that with everything, like this is hard stuff. I feel like one of the hardest things to do is to feel your emotions and come to terms with your emotions. I'm in the mental health field and this is something that I'm still working on. So it's not easy, especially when society or culture, parents or grandparents, family, whoever have told you don't show emotion, don't, just stuff them down and don't feel them, especially with men. It's a huge problem with men. Don't feel emotions. You're not allowed to cry. You're not allowed to all those things. And that does not help. That only hurts. So, it's a learning process, and it's better late than never. You were never too old, or it's never too late to start doing these things and helping move through those emotions that you've probably been stuffing down for a really long time. And using unhealthy coping skills to stuff them down, such as like using substances, or shopping too much, or lying, or gambling, whatever it is. We all have those unhealthy coping mechanisms that we use, and no one's perfect. Sometimes you do want to have a sweet treat when you're not feeling good, and of course in moderation. But it's also important to recognize that we do have emotions, and it's okay to feel them. So let me know what you thought of this video, and how you can start feeling your emotions in your life. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.